Trap it out.
Welcome to Otaku Shot, where it's nothing but liquor and anime. I'm Shane.
I'm Scott.
And tonight we have a guest that we've had, I think on episode 2, Alex.
Hey guys, it's Alex, and it's good to be here again.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody. It wasn't as loud as possible, but you get it.
There we go. Solid.
Tonight our topic is anime protagonists, which is a pretty broad topic, but we got a lot we want to talk about.
As broad as any story that exists, because every story has a protagonist.
I guess that's really true.
So about as broad can be.
Tonight we're drinking, I forgot to mention this earlier, tonight we're drinking Blue Moon Cinnamon Horchata, which is very interesting. We got some Best Damn Root Beer, and my personal favorite, which is Leinenkugel's Berry Weiss.
And we did start out on Fireball, which is
Fireball. Yeah, we drank
finished the bottle.
It's gone.
It's gone. The entire
finished.
bottle's gone. But then it gets between 3 of us, so that's not that bad.
No.
That's true.
I mean, we tried.
I can keep going.
As usual tonight, we'll be doing our normal hentai game. At random points in time during the episode, you will hear a random moan. During that time, we have to drink. It'll go off at random. But anyway, to start off, a couple of the topics that we had were just kind of protagonists in general, our favorite protagonists, what we think about certain protagonists.
Which protagonists were the most like?
Yeah, and protagonists that we just have favorites for.
Yeah.
It's very broad. We're kind of going for that aspect, considering that Alex has not seen a ton of anime, so he hasn't really seen. We went through this in the past, but you've just seen a few things.
I think that was disclosed in episode 2 mostly.
Yeah,
for sure.
But to start off, we'll go with who we think that we're most alike. This was actually kind of hard for us. We never determined who Alex or Scott was. We kind of talked about me, mainly because I thought I was like somebody. But for the person that I think I'm most like would be, if anybody has seen Hyoka, Origi Hotaro from Hyoka, I would say that is the person that just fucking relates to me the most, and who I think I personally would be as a protagonist. He's just a guy for those who have not seen Hyoka, he's just like a guy who just he's real lazy about what he does, but whenever he has to do something, he does it to his full extent. His motto is if I have to do it, make it quick, essentially.
Yeah.
But I won't do anything that I don't have to do. For Scott, a bit hard. I couldn't really think of anything.
Especially because I fall into the pitfall of I'm a fucking narcissist, so
he is.
I have this tendency to, when I like a character, I tend to manipulate my own thoughts to make myself think that I'm like them. I just want to be Isaiah, but I'm not that guy.
This is true. Scott,
I came to terms with it, but it's
it's funny that we say this because Scott definitely has something called protagonist syndrome, where he just believes that he's the protagonist in all of it, and he revolves around being an anime protagonist, essentially.
Look, in the find the protagonist game in this room, I'm the protagonist. I got the crazy hair.
You got the crazy red hair.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, but oh, there it is. Take a drink, everybody. You cheersed on me while I was drinking it.
Sorry.
That's okay. This cinnamon stuff is very interesting. I like it.
It's not bad.
It's definitely different. Different than the Blue Moons I've ever drank. So, yeah. Back to Scott, though.
Yes, talk about me more.
Yeah, talk about you, the fucking narcissist. Anyway, for Scott, I actually watched...
to feed my ego in the comments.
I actually watched an anime called, I think it's called, My Romantic Comedy.
Really? Is that the one that you were telling me about?
With the guy who's really self-deprecating?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, you kind of remind me of the main protagonist in that.
Oh, I see how it is.
See, the thing is that, he's self-deprecating, and, it's called Oregairu?
I got no idea.
But it was like the English translation was like my romantic comedy or something like that. But anyway, the main character is just super self-deprecating on himself. He just constantly is like ratting on himself. But when it comes to like, there's a certain part, kind of spoilers, I guess. But there's a certain part where he has to like talk to this girl and like basically convince her to like come back to like this program that they're in. And instead of just saying like, "Hey, come back for all these reasons," he was like, "Hey, come back because you're a little whiny bitch and I hate you." And he said like all these things that just like belittled her. And like,
how is this like me?
You try to. The thing about Scott is that Scott has like.
Apparently, I'm learning things about myself tonight.
Scott has this whole asshole characteristic sometimes. Oh, there it is again.
See, the ladies love it, dude. Getting moans all the time. I don't know.
Whatever.
Too much alcohol.
But Scott has this whole asshole characteristic where he'll. I don't know. Scott likes to think of himself as this whole like sociopath asshole characteristic persona that he's acquired. He's his own protagonist, like I've said, but in a way, he also kind of reminds me of this character in just certain aspects about him, which kind of fit into Scott because this kid's just trying to like in his own way fit in, which I think that's kind of how you are in a way.
Okay, I get what you mean.
In your own sense, yes. What about you?
Yeah, Scott, I wanted to ask you, is this kind of narcissistic attribute, is it something you're trying to be, or is it something that you think you are? Do you think you're narcissistic,
I think it started out as that. It's definitely started out as him wanting to be narcissistic, and then it just developed into actual narcissism.
Yeah, that's true, because I think at first, I developed it as just like a defense mechanism.
Yeah,
like
totally.
I was being bullied in our friend group so much that I just had to start believing that I was awesome to
you
like
were kind of the
stay
butt
alive.
of the joke back in high school, so.
But like, I don't know. A certain part of it now is like it's part of my character. It's like, but I play it up because that's a real aspect of my personality. Like even when I was like working, like, busting cables and shit, like, getting all dirty, I would look at everybody, like, in the fucking booth and be like, I'm so much better than you.
Right.
Like, that's a narcissist right there. You can look at, like, a businessman in a suit while he's covered in sauce and somebody else's food and be like, I'm better than that guy.
Absolutely.
That takes a real narcissist. Like,
what about Alex?
This is a very good question, actually. I've, no matter what amount of self-reflection I've done, in with regards to, like, this question of what a protagonist is, I don't know if I've...
here it is.
I don't know,
who you would be?
I don't know if I haven't reflected on it too much, so I don't know if I would fit any, like, kind of protagonist kind of trope or, like... like... preset character. I haven't really reflected on it.
We also had this conversation a while, like, me and Scott alone. Alex wasn't really involved in this, that, like, I personally, for myself, if I wouldn't really think of myself as a protagonist character. I would think of myself more as, like, a side character that just is there to root on the protagonist. In this case, Scott.
Oh, thanks.
Because you got the protagonist in him.
Even though I'm the sidekick on the show.
Even though Scott's my sidekick. Alex is also my sidekick at this point.
Cool.
He's like my rentable sidekick.
I'm not even Robin at this point, dude. I'm the Batmobile or something.
If I'm
you're the
Robin,
Batmobile?
you're Batgirl.
You're Batgirl, dude.
I'm hella hot.
You're so hot,
My dream.
But for Alex, it's a bit different. I would say Alex falls more into, like, the secondary category. I'm sure there is a protagonist base for what he would be like. Obviously, we're their own protagonists of our own lives, but, you know.
Talking about this whole topic of, like, comparing yourself to a protagonist in a show is difficult for a couple of reasons. The first one is that I feel like a well-written character of any, like, stature in a show is, if it's done right, like, they feel like a whole different person, like nobody that can really be compared to anybody else. Like, I couldn't compare you to anybody that I actually know. It's like, you're just Shane.
Yeah.
Like, you're just my friend who I know. So it's like, a well-written character, I feel like, should feel like that. Like, you can't compare them to anyone else.
Oh, there's a lot of these. Cheers.
But then there's also the protagonist who just is such a caricature that anybody can relate to them, but can never amount to what they actually are. Like Kirito is a good example.
Oh
this.
god.
Like, yeah.
OP as
like,
fuck.
Yeah, like everybody wants to be like that guy who can just always stand up for what's right and always come out on top, because it's like that's what we all fantasize about, and that's why you relate to that. But nobody really is like that.
See, that's the thing I really like though about this that I wanted to get into eventually is that yes, like you can relate to yourself to protagonists in many different forms of anime, depending on the genre. But there is that standard protagonist thing where it's one character who has the will to go against the world and go against all the odds that are put against him, and he's just so powerful that he just like grows and like, you know, he's got that real like hero aspect of him.
Oh yeah.
And like that's seen obviously in a bunch of shonen animes like Naruto, and like recently like
that's why I could never be a shonen protagonist, because I'd just give up. Like as soon as it got difficult, like I would just give up.
I mean, yeah, I guess in that aspect. See, but
it's like as soon as I like got hurt or got the slightest scratch, I'd be like, okay, I'm done.
And
Bye.
I'm sure there's a protagonist out there that was trying to be this OP fucking guy and then just couldn't. Or you have people like Saitama in One Punch Man, where it's just like he's OP, but he knows that he's OP, but he is just too OP. Ah!
I'd say if there's a character that, like, I'm hesitant to say he's somebody who's really like me, but a character that I heavily relate to is it Kai K from Ajin.
K. Actually, I feel like Alex would be
really
related to K.
Yeah, I can see that too.
That.
How do you mean?
Just because he's so detached from the people around him, and I feel like I'm not like that as much as he is, but I definitely have that type of detachment. Like we've talked about this before, and it's also even though he does end up kind of becoming a badass and like fighting back.
But that's his personality in general,
but
though.
it's also like he does that because at that point he realizes like, okay, I can't just escape this. Like he tries to just run away and avoid it all, but once he's like, okay, I have to do something about it.
So like you haven't seen Ajin, but basically the synopsis of Ajin was basically there are these like race of people who have the like ability. They don't know they're an Ajin when they die, and when they die, they realize that they're immortal. Their limbs grow back and shit like that. Sure. The main character is basically just this like calm, collected human being that is very analytic of his world.
Yeah, he literally in his phone has his friends labeled as like friend number 1, like friend number 2.
I would say in a way that kind of relates to you in certain aspects, not all of it obviously, but I would say you are a very calm, analytical person.
You have described me as such, and I would tend to agree with that. Yeah,
these are really close together this time.
They are actually. Yeah.
I'm almost out of beer. I might have to crack open some of that best damn root beer.
Best damn root beer in the business.
Do you want a best damn root beer, or do you want wine and Kugelsberry Weiss?
I'll take the root beer, please.
Okay. Here's a root beer. Sorry, we're taking a quick beer break. You pee? Alex is going to pee.
Here we go.
Let's talk about him behind his back.
Let's talk about him behind.
I'll hear it.
Man, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I mean seriously. Got pee in the middle of our podcast. But anyway,
I thought it was a P-cast.
you can hear him kind of away from here. A P-cast, apparently.
That doesn't even make sense.
But yeah, I would definitely relate Alex to K. That sounds like a good description. I would say, if anything, in the terms of Ajin related, I'd be more like I forgot what his friend's name is.
The guy with the motorcycle or the red-haired kid?
Red-haired kid that he hangs out with. Maybe motorcycle guy, actually.
I'm trying to remember what his character is. I definitely relate to. Is his friend's name Kai? What's his friend's name with the motorcycle?
No, with the motorcycle. Fuck. That's not even his friend. That was in the OVA.
No. He has a friend that has a motorcycle that he's like straight up steals in the first episode. With the blonde hair.
Oh, Kai. Yeah, Kai.
Is it Kai?
Yeah, Kai.
So.
I thought you were talking about like Nakamura in the OVA.
No.
Yeah.
But something that I really relate to with, which he's not a protagonist, so we're kind of getting off topic, but
yeah,
the way that like, even though Kay kind of like straight up ditches him because he's like, oh, he's a weirdo. It's like, but when when Kay needs help, like he still helps him. Like he goes out of his way to help him and like takes him to the hideout and everything.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of like when, like I feel like I did that a lot for Sanders in the past when I would just like he would not talk to me for years on end, and then he'd hit me up randomly like, hey, I need a ride from like this city in a different state, and I would just go get him. Like, never ask questions.
Sanders that we're talking about is also one of our friends from high school. He was he was flaky.
And I call him Sanders because his name is also Alex, which isn't relevant. Let's get back to the topic.
Anyway, we're gonna move on here to favorite protagonist, actually. So, one of my favorite protagonists of all time, now that I'm thinking about it, is definitely shit. What is his name now that I'm thinking about it?
I don't know. You haven't told me.
Subaru from ReZero.
Yes, I love him.
Mainly because Subaru in ReZero, the thing I love about him is that he fucking just knows that he's a protagonist in his own way.
Immediately.
Like, right off the bat, in this, like, Alex never saw this, but basically, the whole synopsis for ReZero was, like, this kid gets teleported into, like, an alternate dimension, and he's already a nerd. So he's like, so the first thing he says when he gets to the next, he's like, oh, not even thinking that he's been, oh, shit.
Nice save with the pizza there, Alex.
Oh, yeah, we got pizza.
I don't want to save a good pizza.
Not even, like...
He's not even, like, really surprised. He's like, what's going on? Oh, there's fantasy things all around me. I'm in an anime.
Yeah, like, essentially, that was the thought process. He's a nerd, and the moment he's teleported, he's like, okay, where's my guide? Yeah. What do I do from here?
Just walks into a dark alley.
Yeah, and talks to these people, and then is, like, immediately off the bat, he, like, realizes after, like, a couple episodes that he has, like, an ability, obviously.
Yeah.
But he just, like, assumed he was in an anime?
He
like,
assumes
just
that he's a protagonist. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, and that's the thing of it.
That would definitely be me if I got transported to another world. I would instantly be like, I'm the protagonist of this
definitely,
world. I can never die. I can just do whatever.
I think you'll say that whenever. If you ever find yourself in another kind of scenario or something, you're going to focus on yourself. No
technically, though, but spoilers for ReZero, to show this for Alex, but in ReZero, he did have an ability where he couldn't die. His whole thing was, like, he had this thing called, like, restart, where if he was killed, he would basically restart at, like, a checkpoint. And that was, like, the whole thing of the show, was that he would die at random points in time and have to re-go, and then until he would, like, make it, essentially. But yeah, that was, like, one of my favorite protagonists, because, like, I loved seeing his process. I loved seeing him just, like, kind of go crazy a little bit, like, throughout him just dying so much.
And then, like, watching him, like, figure shit out, too, just, like, I don't know.
Yeah, like, definitely.
Very entertaining shit. Like, watching him go through the stages of, like, I'm the protagonist, everything's gonna go great, here we go, let's go adventuring, to, like, I can't fucking take it anymore.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely can't go.
I can't take the death one more time, but then he gets to the point where he's, like, also like an Ajin. He just gets to the point where he's using his ability to not die just to his advantage, like it's just a normal thing.
True. Another character I really like that kind of relates to this is, like, Okabe from Steins Gate.
Yes.
For Okabe, like...
What a crazy guy.
Did you ever hear about Steins Gate?
I think you mentioned it to me, actually.
It's like a time-traveling anime.
You probably did.
Yeah, I'm sure you mentioned it to me. I can't go into detail about it.
That's kind of the whole thing for Steins Gate, too, which kind of relates to ReZero, is that at one point in time in Steins Gate, which, I'm sorry for all the spoilers tonight, we're trying to explain everything to Alex, who has not seen a bunch of stuff.
Let's just start putting a spoilers disclaimer in front of the show.
Spoilers disclaimer. But, like, in Steins Gate, I won't say anything really about the plot of it, really, but, like Okabe kind of has his own, like, insanity thing that he goes through.
Yeah.
Because he keeps repeating, like, it's essentially kind of like...
And he's just like, I wanted to feel sad about this, but I knew it was already going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, it's kind of like Subaru from ReZero, where he kept dying and kept repeating the same thing over and over again, unlike Okabe, where he kept going back in time and having to repeat the same thing he was doing.
Yeah.
Alex. When did Steins Gate come out? When was it?
Like, 2011?
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
It's pretty new then? Okay.
I guess that's new. It depends. It depends.
That's the only question I had.
Okay.
Okay.
Depends what wave of anime you're talking about.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Like, you know, everything from, like, I wouldn't consider everything to be new for anime.
Yeah,
like 2000, like 2008 really to now. like everything past that is more like older. You get it.
A lot of the stuff that I started out
like Cowboy Bebop, for instance.
Samurai Champloo.
Like a lot of things that I haven't seen.
You gotta watch Samurai Champloo.
I know. I need to watch Cowboy Bebop too.
They're both so good.
I haven't watched anything new.
I need to watch Cowboy Bebop.
I need to watch Trigun too. Did you ever watch Trigun?
No.
Okay, he was a cool protagonist from what I saw.
Isn't that the name of the dad from Teen Titans?
Trigun? Yeah, Raven's dad. Yeah. Raven's dad, the destroyer of worlds, Trigun.
Is that anime or is that an American show?
That's based off comics, so no, it's not anime.
Okay, I figured. I was just
based off American comics.
Because the style is similar, so I was just asking.
Technically, I'm pretty sure Teen Titans, the original series, had some type of Japanese influence. I remember that their opening at one point was also Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also have Trouble in Tokyo, where they literally go to Japan.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that now.
Now, getting completely off topic here.
Oh, it's fine.
You guys
Protagonists. What else do we have to discuss?
Okay, so for me, this is another thing I wanted to go to. We were talking about favorite protagonists. Definitely, like I said, Okabe, him, Subaru. But also, one of my favorite, indefinitely, is Yato from Noragami.
Oh yeah.
I love you to think about that for a second.
It is.
It
is what it is. I'm already bad with names.
See, this is another thing. I love explaining this to you because I get to talk about this.
Yeah,
a little
for
bit.
sure. Yeah.
But in Noragami, basically the plot line of it is that there's just in their world there's gods, but not all gods are big gods.
Sure.
So basically,
demigods and stuff like that.
Noragami literally means stray god.
Okay.
And so the story is about this up and coming god, and his name's Yato, and he's immortal, but he's such a piece of garbage, and he's always spray painting his phone number on sides of buildings.
He just goes around doing stray jobs,
graffiti.
Anything he can do to make money.
He literally calls himself the delivery god, and pretty much he gets random calls who are hey, help me take care of this, or clean my bathroom and stuff like that, and he does it, and he literally gets paid 5 yen, which is literally nothing. That's a penny.
He keeps all of his money in a single bottle.
He's just got this big bottle, and just watching this almost pathetic character in the beginning, just rise throughout it. Just I loved him because he wasn't the whole he's kind of OP in his own way.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, he had his own thing where it was he's OP, but in the sense of it made sense.
Yeah.
Because he's technically a god.
What kind of god is he supposed to be?
He's technically
what is
he's
what is he governing? What's
he's
his
a war god, right?
Yeah, his actual
always when I say something.
It just likes you, I guess.
His actual
most hentai girls do.
His actual title was he was a god of war, or a god of what was it called? God of calamity is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty much like a god for hire to kill people. Oh. That was his whole thing through it. Once again, spoiler. I'm done at this point saying this.
My current favorite protagonist has got to be Soma.
Soma is such a good protagonist.
I have a few reasons for why he's my current favorite.
Hang on, before we describe this, we'll get to Alex, because Alex is just kind of at least along for the ride at this point. We'll get to his in a moment. But Soma, basically he's in this anime called Shokugeki no Soma, which is Food Wars. He's in a food anime. He's a cook. But you're just watching him go through this horrifying school.
Yeah. How many members of their first class get expelled? The first time
there's only 200 of them that live through each school year.
Yeah.
This is food related, you said?
Yeah.
In what way? Is
it's a culinary school. Yeah.
Oh, it's a culinary school.
You gotta watch it. It's
okay.
So good.
All right.
But Soma's just this kid who's been at his restaurant this entire time, and he gets sent away to go there and learn the skills and whatnot. But he's it's so cool to see Soma because he's so OP, but in the sense of food, okay, this is a way to describe him. So they do this thing all the time in Shokugeki where they'll show the battle of food because they have these things called Shokugekis in it,
right.
And Shokugeki is literally a food war.
Sure.
And
it's like the Iron Chef.
Yeah, they basically both create a dish. Whoever wins wins.
Right.
But they show strength in food. So but when they're showing him during the episodes, they'll portray him as this samurai.
Yeah, he looks so badass.
And so he could technically take on the role of like an action protagonist, but when it's food, it just like it makes it so much better for me. Also,
yeah, I agree.
Like you'll see him like when they have Shokugekis, they have 3 votes and whoever wins, and you'll see the other opponent on the ground like groveling.
Yeah,
and then
that's
then
the best.
Then you'll see Soma like on top, like looking down upon his
with like his headband waving in the air.
His like headband in the air, and he's just like thanks for the food,
like handing them a bowl of his dish.
Yeah,
like see how much better it is.
Oh, and just like it's so cool to see that character because it's like
a dominance kind of thing.
Yeah, like kind of like it's like think about this. It's like think of like the character in Naruto. And, like, not even really Naruto, but, like, an OP, like, strong character. Think about, like, Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
Think about that. But in terms of, like, a guy who's just so good at cooking.
Yeah.
And, like, that's how it is. Like, power through food.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about it.
Oh, somebody who's powerful through their skill, basically.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Their expertise.
But they portray him as, like, a guy who's, like, actually powerful.
In general.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
What's he going?
But why I like Soma, though? So, there are a few, like, main reasons. So, I really like just how he is as a person, how he's usually very happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
And, like, he'll joke around, like, even after he finishes, like, some serious match, he's just, like, laughing about it. Like,
yeah,
even if he
I know.
loses, pretty much, he's just like, oh, well, you beat me, whatever. Just get you next time. No, but really, I'll get you next time. Like, but the way he just switches from being, like
a badass to, like,
super lighthearted and funny to just going to, like, super serious and fucking badass in a second. I know. But I like that about him, but I also like they talk about this in one episode specifically how they mention he's not OP or like badass through some type of unique ability or by being some type of prodigy. He's a badass just because like he knows a lot about what he does, and he thinks his options through. Like, he just thinks about how to do things. It's not like he has some special talent or ability.
He just knows what to do.
He's just like an average guy who has honed his skills. Like, that's all it is. He's just good. He's just good.
Flat out good at what he does, and I love that about him.
Yeah.
Also, like, you don't know this much because you obviously haven't seen Shokugeki Alex, but, like, he also does things where, like, he's cooking, and, like, they're like, you know, all these people are like doing like these like really fancy ingredients and like all this like super top gourmet chef.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what did you use for yours? And he's like, oh, I use like these peanuts that I got at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And like, oh, like it's just simple ketchup. And like stuff like that, like the simplest shit you would never think of.
Amazing,
but yeah, it's
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because he's on the low spectrum of like what he serves, like when it comes to like food. Like he's not like he worked at a diner, so he's not serving like this top gourmet food. But like when it comes to his cooking, like even though it's so simplistic, he's still so good at it. Man.
Yeah, and like because of the upbringing that he had, like he has such a wide range of cooking techniques in his arsenal. So when he is faced with the option of creating something super classy, like he can do that too.
Yeah.
Like obviously kind of his specialty is like the home style, like diner type of cooking because that's what he was raised with. But when he needs to, like he can pull out something fucking classy and legit.
I also love how like at like during certain situations, like during like I remember they had like this whole situation where like his meals weren't working out very good, like when they had to like serve a lot of fast food, and
then
he like all of a sudden
he turns his cooking into a show.
Yeah, like all of a sudden he's just like, bam, like I knew what to do. I'm gonna turn myself into like live cooking.
Yeah,
and like you just see that even when like he's like in doubt and like possibly fucked in certain situations, he somehow comes out on top. God damn this hentai moan.
Something else I like about him is like that whole sequence you were just talking about. It's like when you're watching that has stakes because he doesn't win every fight.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Like you feel like he could win every fight that he's in, but he doesn't. Yeah. So it's like the fights still have stakes, but at the same time you never feel like it's hopeless for him.
Plus, like I love his transition. Like he's now that I think about it, he's definitely one of my favorite protagonists.
Yeah, he's definitely like, number one for me.
I love how he's just so jokey and just like ha ha ha. And they draw him that really like chibi style where he's like all like laughing and whatnot.
I love how they draw his face when he's like being all cheeky. Yeah, how it's just like so simple.
And then all of a sudden he's just like, by the way, I'm gonna win though.
I love the way that this is kind of an aside.
Yeah.
But when anime characters get super serious, especially like Hinata from
Haikyuu.
Yeah.
Haikyuu's a good one.
The way that they draw their eyes like super flat with like the top of their forehead and like their eyes like shaded by their hair. Like, I love that look because that's how you know like
they're serious.
Like when Hinata is like, we're gonna win. Like his face is just so serious, and you're like, holy shit!
You're like, oh shit, he's gonna win.
Yeah.
Alex, getting into you.
Sure.
Favorite protagonist, even though you haven't seen a whole lot.
Yeah. I was reflecting on like Light as a protagonist, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that we've talked about this, right?
Yeah.
Light is more of an anti-hero in some sense. So Light goes against some of our moral intuitions. So in that sense, he might be not suited as a protagonist, but as an antagonist.
In a way, yeah.
But
we were having this whole conversation the other day.
I feel like,
but yet the show follows him the most.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So that's what makes him like the protagonist is doesn't have to be like the good guy.
Exactly.
It's like that's who the story follows.
Like we were talking about, like Samurai Champloo for you, like how he's the main.
Yeah,
like, Mugen's the main protagonist, but yes, he kills people.
He's not the main protagonist. He's like one of three. I don't know who I think the main protagonist would technically be like Fu.
Oh yeah, we also talked about this recently that I wanted.
Yeah, the whole thing with like who is the protagonist.
So me and Scott had this whole conversation. We're like, okay, so when it comes to
hold on.
What's up,
Alex? Did you have anything more to say? I feel like we're gonna cut you off.
Okay,
totally fine.
So
sorry.
we had this whole thing that was like, for certain animes, obviously there is like a protagonist that is followed, but since there are multiple characters and multiple like perspectives, would you even consider them as to be like the protagonist?
Yeah, just a few examples that come to my mind at first would be like what we just talked about, Samurai Champloo, Durarara, Kokodo Connect.
Yeah, Kokodo Connect.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good one.
Like, okay, so for Durarara, I'll say this as my main basis. Like, who do you think the main protagonist is?
I would say Mikado.
Yeah, Mikado, and definitely. But like,
especially because he's the first character that you're introduced to, and that's how the narration starts off.
Yeah, and like obviously like the whole like story of Durarara in the end was like Mikado is like tripped down, like basically
into
like being
insanity.
Insanity. Yeah.
But as you brought up to me, it's Celty who's the through line.
Originally when they were in Durarara, for those who haven't seen Durarara, it's an amazing show. Please fucking watch it. I'm drunk, slurring my words.
They know the deal by
they know the deal. By the end of the podcast, we get a little too drunk. Whoa, didn't make it. I just
don't you hate like when you try to toss something into a trash can but you miss? You have to make the walk of shame.
The walk of shame.
That happens to me. That happens to me in the kitchen all the time. Oh, I hate it.
Anyway, but like, actually, whenever I can't think of who the writer for Durarara is, but whenever they were writing Durarara, the actual original protagonist for it was actually Celty, and Celty was supposed to be like the main protagonist in it, which like in a way she does have her own protagonist sense.
Yeah.
But like I think Mikado is definitely the protagonist. Mm-hmm. Also, Isaiah could be technically a protagonist, but he's more of an antagonist.
Yeah, because I mean he causes like pretty much all the conflict in it.
Yeah,
which like by definition makes him the
antagonist. Yeah, but technically there's also like an overlining like antagonist above Isaiah in Durarara. Yeah. So like, it's a little hard to explain. Durarara is one of those shows where it's just like you're following so many characters at this point that it's hard to determine. Mm-hmm. Same for like Kokodo Connect, where like yes, technically like I would say like I forgot their names. But like the main character would probably be that one guy who
but it's like I feel like he's not even really in it all that much compared to like
a few of them, but
or at least he's at least in an equal amount. It's like it's one of those things that it becomes a very blurry line.
Yeah, where it's like you can't really tell who's the protagonist. Obviously, for like say like for Death Note, like obviously Light is the protagonist.
Yeah,
but then again, in some ways, like. He's got like when they don't even show L for a while, like obviously L introduced that antagonistic aspect for it, but like
There's still like a moral ambiguity, right?
Yeah,
like you don't really know like who's right or wrong, or like you feel
there's a line between like
yes.
the definition of a protagonist is technically the one that you follow, but like most of the time when you're talking about an antagonist, it's the person who's like going against the protagonist.
Yeah, and there is a period of time where Light is trying to find Kita, like legitimately.
Yeah.
Spoilers?
I mean, you know, it's
Who
fine.
cares?
There's already
we've already talked about so many like Death Note.
Let's just start putting a spoilers disclaimer at the beginning of everything.
Yeah, please. There might be spoilers in this. You don't know.
I'm tired of caring if I'm spoiling something. It's
we have to.
I know.
We care about our viewers and we love you all so much.
It.
Thank you for fucking listening to us.
I get it. I don't want to spoil an anime for anybody. But there comes a point where when you're going to talk about it, like, you have to be able to reveal some things about a show. Like, to explain your thoughts.
Yeah, I
That's
get that.
all, like, I mean, obviously we try to not give away major plot points, but at a certain, like, what is a spoiler, you know? It's like, Bruce Willis is dead at the end of Sixth Sense, like.
Thanks, buddy. I've never seen Sixth Sense.
I hope that happens. I hope there's one guy who's like, he's gonna watch it next weekend, and I just ruined it for him.
and okay, I'm gonna wrap this up right now though. But in the end, like, protagonist is obviously just like there's a fine line in it where they could be a protagonist, they could not be. It depends on your aspect of an idea of the definition of protagonist.
Yeah.
Obviously there are in anime there are like obviously like the main protagonist, like, oh, who's the protagonist of Naruto? Oh, I wonder.
Is it Boruto's dad?
I think it's Boruto's dad. Maybe it's Sasuke. Who knows?
Naruto should be called Sasuke.
No, I fucking wish it was. Like, same for, like, Gintama. Like, who's the protagonist in Gintama?
Gin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Isn't his full name, like, Gintoki?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I haven't watched that in so long. I need to get back on that.
You probably should. You should probably watch Shokugeki as well, because we've been talking about it so much. Because, shit's going down.
Oh, low-key, I haven't watched anything in a long time. I've been too busy working and sleeping.
You know how it goes.
It's like my life is 50-50, 50% work.
I've been all about
50% sleep.
Oh, in the end, before I go, I'm going to say this, though. I will say that my overall favorite protagonist at this point is definitely Araragi from Monogatari.
Yeah, he's legit. I love that guy.
I fucking love him.
He's such a pervert, though.
I know
like,
he is.
It's a lovable type.
He's like a piece of shit, but also a guy I love.
Which is what's so lovable about him is like when he's a piece of shit, you're like, I still love you.
You're such a sexual piece of shit, but whatever. But then he's also like
he molests a middle schooler.
Yeah,
he molests an elementary schooler.
She's a ghost though.
He wants to fuck his sister. He fucks his sister.
He does kind of want to fuck his sister.
Wait, does he ever end up?
No, he doesn't. At least that I'm not aware of. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Okay, guys, make sure to subscribe if Araragi ends up fucking his sister. Speaking of fucking your sister,
I'm not gonna. What? There shouldn't be any more speaking of fucking your sister. Continue. What are you saying? You don't even.
No.
I was gonna say you don't even have a sister, but you do have a sister.
I'm not talking about my sister.
Okay, what are you saying?
I'm just out of.
Just say it. Get it over with.
I don't know. It's gone. I was gonna talk about that fucking show. Oh. Speaking of protagonists, so that show I watched, My Little Sister Can't Be This Cute.
Yeah.
That guy is like, the protagonist from that show is so fucking weird because he's like, it's gone.
Is he a creep?
He's a creep, but it's because he tries to be a nice guy, and it just ends up turning out creepy. Like, his parents end up thinking that, like, he's fucking his sister, because it's like, he wants to fuck his sister, but it's like, he doesn't know, like, it's a weird thing. I wish I wouldn't have brought it up now, because I'm like, I didn't actually have anything to say about it, it just jumped into my mind.
Okay.
Now I'm just ruining the whole thing.
Well, that's the end of this podcast, everybody. Anyway, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, follow me at HideyoshiNagashika on Tumblr.
Don't fuck your sister.
Don't fuck your sister.
Don't fuck your sister.
That's the rule of this whole protagonist thing. Also, subscribe to us on SoundCloud. Make sure to keep listening in. We'll keep having stuff. We'll try to rework our structure and get it so we can actually record every week or every other week. Obviously, the holidays have been hectic. So, anyway, thank you for tuning in. We hope to have Alex again. We hope to have my sidekick. It would be weird if it was just me, obviously.
Yeah, I'll be here every time.
Yeah, Scott will be here every time. I don't know why we record without him.
I'll be here every other time.
Scott will be here. Alex will be here every other time. He's always there. Kind of. We'll see. He's our Batmobile. He's only there when we need him.
Fitting.
Anyway, have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Merry late Christmas.
Yeah,
Good night,
Merry
everyone.
late Christmas. Happy holidays, everybody. Good night. Bye.